do I handle it?
Handle it, or reconcile it, or make sense of it?
The first persons who came up, I wasn't sure if it was working at all, because it was more like, I felt like a test. So let's test it in Florence, because the original idea was to bring it to Pisa, right? And to play in front of Pisa with it. And by then, after I looked at the people, and after I recognized how they walked and how they dealt with a figure, because it became a kind of a figure as well, I think maybe that's the clay. I don't know. It became real personal to some of them. So for example, there was a spike person, and it seemed like he's carrying a trophy. But this Indian person, it seemed like she really likes it, and she told me after, well, it's so beautiful, I had to walk really concentrated. So
it sounds like the concept, at least in this experiment, became less important to you. You let it drop. You let it go away.
Yeah, I let it drop like the tower
like
itself.
The tower.
Yeah, right. But I think that's part of the process, what's happening all the time. It's like that's part of performing as well. I think you can come up with an idea, but you have a kind of with art in common, you have a kind of a line where you start off with, and you know what you want to bring over, and I think people catch on it because there's something in it, they feel it, there's something in it, but what they're gonna do with it, or what they might recognize, in the sculpture or whatever, I think that's part of themselves. It's always a kind of mirroring what they bring with, I think. Yeah.
Because it does seem to me there are often two conversations. We said this a little bit. In art, artists are speaking to one another about the development of art, in this case. And then there are the people who come to see art who don't share that conversation. And it's, in some ways, what I enjoyed is you didn't feel so attached to the artist conversation. You were willing to let the viewer have their experience of your tower, even though it may have had nothing to do in their minds with your concept.
Right.
I think it made it. I always laugh when there's a long description next to a piece of work, and you can't look at it before you read the entire.
Right.
Okay, but I always think, well, if I didn't read that, what would I see? And it usually has nothing to do. And so in this way, you were letting the viewer, or the participant, name the piece or make the piece. I thought that brought it very much to life. I like that. So I've been watching you this last couple of weeks develop this.
I didn't know.
Yeah, I've been watching. Not watching, but aware. And I'd love you to tell some about, particularly the way the piece changed and how you made decisions as you moved through those changes. I thought they were quite wonderful to see.
Oh, it would be interesting to hear what you think about.
We could do that, but I think it's more important that you say what that was, how you made those decisions and what decisions you were making.
All right. Yeah, I think it started with a person at the performance. He said, "It looks like a German-Italian tower." So it's that might be the answer of how I developed it a little bit too, because I started with this metal construction and very abstract, and then I thought maybe it could be this, let it be just abstract and like metal, and then I thought maybe I put a little bit of clay in it, but just a little bit and not too much. And then it got not stable enough as well. And I remember you came up and you said like, well, it needs stability, and I think that was an important point. And then I think it started to become really like a relation you have to this model, because then if you make it stable, it becomes someone who's facing you too. So it's and then you kind of have a talk to that piece as well. So how much you put in and how much of the area, the Italian area is coming in, how much you allow the influence of here to be part of it, and how much you still keep the thing you came with,
What were
It's
you-
kind of
what were-
balancing itself as well.
What was the fear?
To let the concept go, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
You're
of
course. Yeah.
Yeah.
To release yourself from the
Right.
idea.
Right.
Yeah, I saw you doing that, which was really quite fun.
Yeah.
And then it became more and more Italian as you went. I mean, more Baroque, more possibility,
Right.
more materials, and it was like then you almost couldn't stop yourself.
No, till the last night. I think
Yeah.
I was up till 11, 12 or whatever, and then I had to present it the next day.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, but we should
Yeah,
stop.
so let's stop. Okay, good place to stop. Thank you. Okay.
All right, thanks.